Hi everyone, my name is Eddie and I have created a plugin for Godot. It's called EventBridge, and today I want to show you what you can do with it. You can get the plugin from my itch.io page. Here you can find some more information about the plugin and also links to my GitHub page for further documentations. You can get it also from my Ko-Fi page. Just visit the shop and you can find it there, and also a simple demo project. Okay, now let's install the plugin first. Just copy the files to the add-ons folder and then you just have to activate the plugin. Now, this is the sample project you will get from my Ko-Fi page or from my itch.io page. Today I'm not making a tutorial. This will be more a quick walkthrough about the demo project and what you can do with the EventBridge plugin instead of writing a lot of RPC code. Like if you have ever read the documentation and you find yourself reading it over and over again, or googling stuff like why your RPCs are not working because of multiple reasons you have to think about every time. So I made the EventBridge plugin similar to how you would use the plain signals in Godot. But first, let me show you how the project looks like when we run it. I have now opened two instances with two simple character nodes and some movement. Both clients see each other. You can roll a dice and it broadcasts the signals to all clients. Okay. And you have the server. Normally you don't do some UI stuff directly on the server, but this is just for demo. So with this you can send messages to your client from your server. If you enter the ID 0, it always means to all connected clients. This is not from the EventBridge plugin, this is from the documentation of the high-level multiplayer API from Godot. So you see, I can send a message to all players, or if I just connect a specific ID like this one, you see, it just updates on the player 1 instance. So this is the console. As you can see, here's a heartbeat check going on. This is a setting you can set directly on the server node. Just have to tick this on or off. Now I will show you how you can build your event registry. Start by clicking on category. Then you can enter a name In this example, I will enter the server. Then you can add your first event, like a message to all connected clients. Now, instead of writing all the RPC stuff like this, you can now easily set them down here. You have your target. You can select 4 of them, like to server, to ID, to all, and emit local. To all means it sends this event to all connected clients. To ID means just to a specific connected peer. To server means always from a client to the server, and emit local is basically just a normal signal in Godot, but I kept it for testing purposes. So we will set this target to ID because we want to send a welcome to a connected client. We will set it as the authority because we will send it from the server, and it should be called remote. You can also set the transfer mode from reliable, unreliable, and unreliable ordered, and also the transfer channel from 0 up to I believe 35 is possible, but you should try to keep from 1 to 4. More information about this you can find on the documentation of Godot, what each setting means. Now that we have defined our event and our target mode, sync and transfer mode, we can also add some arguments we want to send with this event. For this example, I'm going to add an argument as message and a string. And then I just have to click on the generate button. This gives you then the file event manager inside the EventBridge folder generated. If you open that file, you can now see that our event is for us generated. And please keep in mind, and I also wrote it up here, that this file is auto-generated, so you don't have to edit it manually inside here. So it generates for you an emitter function and a subscriber function, and also a function to disconnect from this event again. After the file is generated, you have to go to your project settings and to add the event manager as your autoload. In the autoload folder of the EventBridge plugin, you will find also a file called Event Validator. If you want to validate events before they are sent, you have to add this file as your autoload instead of the event manager. The event validator extends from the event manager. More about that later on. You can find on my GitHub page the official documentation about the plugin, where you can read more about all the events. If you have already done a project and don't want to start over again, you also can just load your event registry in a new project. You have just to keep in mind that that you have to copy this event registry JSON file somewhere to a safe place. And whenever you load a new JSON file, you have to generate it again. Sometimes it happens that Godot doesn't recognize the changes right away. So you can just delete all these 3 files. And then you just generate them again. Let's see if it works again. Yes. Perfect. And when I have it already open, I can show you what it means with the event validator. I have set it up so when a client presses the escape key, he gets kicked. You see? And down in the console you see a warning from the event bus which says validator blocked RPC clients, key pressed with arguments. This is the ID of the player. This is the number of the escape key, and then he will be kicked. Under the project settings, when you are in the tab General and you scroll down, you will find the EventBridge, and here you can set and activate the debugger. There's also an option for apply RPC autofix, which is just an experimental state right now, but it will help you in future to so you can't mess up your settings down there. But let me show you. Okay, I think when you set this you have to activate and deactivate one time. And also you have to select the event. You see, now you get warnings how it autofix the stuff which is not possible to combine, like you can't send to any peer like from 2ID. This won't work, or also with call local. On my GitHub page there is also a file called config rules where you can read more about this. Now if you have set the debugger in the project settings and you run the game, you get more infos now in the console. You see, now the validators are also firing for some events. I have to say, every category and every event you see here is just made up by me. It depends on your project and what you want to do. I try to work with an authority mode, which means in a server authoritative design, the server makes all final decisions. Client sent to the server events. For requests, server validates and executes. Prevents cheating by never letting clients decide outcomes. You can find more infos about that also on my GitHub page under the advanced tips file. So here I'm just playing around with some events, but I will show you now how you can connect them and use them in your project. So this is now my server file. This is, so to say, the main file which runs first when I run the project. And let's look now how I connected the welcome to client event. You can think of this all as you would now have to write all your RPC code, like all of this. If you look up here, you will find a tab called Connections. When you click on this, now you get a list where all your emitters and subscribers are defined. If I want to check out the welcome to client event, I can now see in my client GD file I have the subscriber, and in the server UI GD file I have the emitter. So this is the visual of the file, and this is the script for this file. And as you can see, I have connected the signal on button pressed from here. And now I'm emitting the event server welcome to client with the content from these two inputs. When I hover over the function, I get all the infos I need, where I can see the first argument has to be a string and the second has to be the peer ID where I want to send the message to. In a previous version of my plugin, I had it so that you had to set a second argument as the peer ID with the type integer, but I made it so that when you set the target to ID, you will get automatically the peer ID in the auto-generated event manager file. So when you click on this file, you see the peer ID is already defined, and you didn't have to add an extra argument for that. It's just for working a bit faster. So it's defined like that. You press on the button and the event manager will send this event. If I now double click on the subscriber, I see I have defined it in my client in the ready function. And this is what happens when the event manager emits this event. On the client I have the subscriber, and I change the welcome message text. This is this field here to whatever the message string was from the server. Now, because the event manager file is auto-load, you just have to type event and then you can select your event manager, and you get a list of all of your events that you have defined. Like if you start typing server, you see we have the dice broadcast, dice result, kick client, turn started, and the welcome to client. Sorry. You also see some error messages. When you have set other type, then it's defined in your event. Like for the peer ID, it has to be integer, so you also get the errors. And also when you want to use your subscribers, like just type on, and then you get your list again. And then when you where you have to define your function or your callback. Whenever you have to unsubscribe again from your event, you can use the off all event in your exit tree, for example. I have set it in my client, so when he disconnects or something else happens, he just unsubscribes from every event, and when he is ready again, he subscribes again to them. So as you see, we have a full multiplayer game set up with not a single line of where we have to define RPCs. And to show you how it can be exported, I have one Windows exported server, and under the features you have to write server. Good, that's done. Now let's do the client. Now that's that done. Now when you run your server from your build, you have now no UI anymore, but that's normal like that. Now let's start the client. Wait, let me just make this a bit smaller here. And then we start another one. So that we have two. Connect here, connect here. Wait a minute. Something like that, just that you can see it. Now each client has his own console. Sorry, and the server has just a console. You see, I'm on my client, I'm just getting his local prints, and on my server I get the RPC event for the key presses, and also on the other one. So for the roll dice, and again, when one of the client pressed the escape key, he gets kicked. And the event isn't not even sent because the validation blocks it. On my GitHub page, you will find also a folder called DigitalOcean, where you find 2 PDFs with instructions how you can upload your server builds. to DigitalOcean and run it from there. I will cover this in a future tutorial, how to do that. So again, these are all replacements for the Godot RPC functions, because I find it easier to work like this, because I have a beautiful tree. I can load every time a save file back again if I have messed something up. If event doesn't do what I believe it should do, I can always turn on under the project settings the autofix, or I can go to my GitHub page and check the documentation. Or it's not hard to try to change some settings, save the file and see if it works for you. This is another project of mine where I'm using the EventBridge plugin. It's a small game. It will be in the style of 2D platformer, multiplayer and capture the flag thing. I don't know yet. I'm just experimenting a bit around with my plugin. So let's start it up. Just a sec. Here are my two clients. I connect one. I connect the other one. The character I'm using for this game is from this page here, also from itch.io. So I'm giving credits to the creator. Now back to the game. As you see, I have my two characters. Oh. They can shoot, they can jump, and I have area. When it's entered, it shrinks the player like for 5 seconds, and I have set up some portals. When the player enters one, he gets teleported around the map. And also the other one. But in this game I also added an extra client which can serve as the admin of this game. This looks like this then. This is a third client which only starts as the admin. Again, it's just a playing from me, because I have set in my run instances like 4, and one is server, one is admin. And in my startup file I check if it's the server or if it's the admin or just the client. Then I created some events in the EventBridge plugin, like client connected and client disconnected. These are not the multiplayer default functions for client connected. These are just made up by me, because now I can run extra functions like I need to make this a little bit bigger, like put them here, this one here. When I now send the message, both players get one, or I can just select the client and say and only one of them gets it, and I have added extra console for the admin. So you see, if the player enters this shrink area, something happens. It's just testing. I didn't write everything. It's not everything finished yet, but something is working. Like when the player enters a portal, I get a message where he is sent to. Like so. And also I can kick the client. I hope you liked this small walkthrough of how you can use the EventBridge plugin for your multiplayer games. All I can say is I'm still working on this plugin. I'm working already more than a year on it, but I decided it's now production ready. So I will dedicate my YouTube channel from now on just making multiplayer games with this plugin. In the description you will find my Discord link to my server. I have set up 50 download keys, so for the 50 people who subscribe to my server, they will get the key and can test the plugin for free. I hope I get a lot of feedback from you guys to make it even better. If you have any questions, you can write it down in the comments or ask me anything on my Discord server. Please like and subscribe if you want to get future notifications about my update. Okay, then see you in the next videos. Bye.